Welcome to the High Value Sales Show of Eversprint.com. I'm Malcolm Louie, the managing member of Eversprint, and today we're speaking with Abby Leibowitz, the CEO of Call Experts, a customer service, call center, and telephone answering service provider. Welcome to the call, Abby.
Thank you.
Abby, you grew your company's revenue from $4.4 million in 2014 to $8.4 million in 2017, a 90% increase. Before we talk about how you grew your company so fast, can you briefly share what your company does beyond my quick intro and how your company differs from the competition?
Glad to. We provide outsourced customer service and customer solutions of all types. We take on business process outsourcing, anything in a contact center, virtual receptionists, and also provide data and analytics for people to understand their customer experience.
How do you differ from the other companies that do something similar?
We do a lot more of a variety of clients, so we are very flexible, and I think we mostly differ because we're very much real people and we hold everything we do to very high standards, and we, I think, try and bring a bit of a personality back to the call center world.
All right. How do you bring personality back to the call center world?
So I think historically, the call center world it's pictured as just a lot of people sitting in cubicles, perhaps doing telesales, sitting there just pounding on their keyboards and talking. And we, really like to emphasize that we are real people. We just happen to not be in your office with you, and we have personality. We let it show and try and really emphasize who we are and our culture and everything that we do.
Okay. Now, can you give me an idea as to how your team works? I mean, when I think of call center, right, the stereotypical call center is a huge room with banks of people sitting there. Is that how you're set up as well?
We are set up like that at our main headquarters, and we have satellite offices that have a smaller, more family-like feel. We have that, and then we have offices throughout and a lot of open space and a lot of windows and people engaging, stand-up stations, leads in every corner.
Mm-hmm. And the way it's set up now, do groups of people sit together who are working with one client, or does your system just route them to whoever is available and they can pick up the call and be ready to go?
So that's a place where we're likely unique from most other call centers in that we do both intertwined. So we have shared teams that will take on calls from, depending on the call volume and budgets, for several different companies. One person can be on a very different call from the person next to them. And then we have clients who have a whole team dedicated to just their company, their account, and the team could be one whole room together for just that team.
Ah, very cool. And your clients, are they, how big are they? What's the range at the size of your clients who are working with your team?
It really runs the gamut. We do everything from somebody that the whole company is just one person running the show, and we serve as their office and take care of everything except perhaps the actual service they go out and do. And then we have teams that we have up to 40 people dedicated for just one team. Ah,
very cool. And do you do any sort of, say, appointment setting services? Do you do any of that sort of work as well, or is it just strictly answering phones and dealing with some well-defined issues?
Yeah, the scope of our projects can differ, and definitely some include appointment setting. We don't do outbound telesales. We never want to be that person who's bugging you at dinner with your family, but we will do, if someone's calling in and setting an appointment, we work inside of some of our customer systems in their CRMs, just as an extension of their office. We're setting appointments, responding to their email leads, making sure they get that follow-up call, and booking appointments for them from there. So yes, we do appointment setting.
All right. Yeah, very handy. Can you share with me the three biggest drivers of your growth when you grew from 4.4 million in 2014 and almost doubled it 3 years later to 8.4 million?
So in my opinion, when I look back and reflect on that time, I think about what did we do that really made sure that contributed to the success that we had since then and continue to have. And it seems that we were really focused on having scalable processes. So whatever we did, we would put this hat on of, okay, well, even if the intention has never been to franchise ourselves. If we were going to franchise ourselves and had to have everything down to a T, what would it look like and how do we create that process? So we really focus on everything we do, but is it scalable and can someone else pick it up and do it while also infusing our culture and brand of extra happiness without becoming like a robot.
Right. Okay.
So that's the main one.
Okay. Number one, you are focused on creating and executing scalable processes.
Correct.
Okay. Can you think of number two and number three?
Sure. Progress? I think, secondly, I would say that we really believe in daring to be different. A bad word around here is really consider a whole bad sentence. It's because we've always done it that way, or, oh, that's just the way it is. I really don't like hearing things like that because I really believe in questioning and asking why, and that's very ingrained in our culture. So for anyone to say that's just it's like that, or just because I was told it has to work that way, we don't really accept those. We dig into, well, are you sure? What's really the line where it has to be that way? What are we protecting? What's our goal? And can we do something different? So being willing to ask why and daring to be different is right. A big one too.
Yeah, there's a real famous, I think, John F. Kennedy speech or quote along those lines, right? I think way back then to the space race, he's saying something about how people were saying that it can't be done. Whereas he would ask the question, well, why can't it be done, right?
Right.
And just asking that, why not? Why can't we do it to get it? And then it happens.
That sounds like us. We have many meetings infused with presidential trivia around here. So.
All right. Got another one now for you.
Right in our culture, yes.
And how about number three?
I would say it's, I think it's a idea of we test things and stay open, and sometimes it's referred to as shooting bullets, not cannons. So, we'll test a lot of things at one time. And then once we really get a feel for what's working and where we gauge success, and how we gauge success isn't always just revenue. It might be what we enjoy doing and what's a good culture fit. Then we say, okay, now let's put even more effort towards this. So we very rarely in our time have ever said, yeah, I'm going to put all my eggs in one basket here. Instead, we've said, okay, we're going to be in all these areas. We're going to see what works. We're gauging success, and then we refocus. So I call it, the shooting bullets, not cannons philosophy.
Right. Okay. So the three drivers of your growth: one, focus on scalable processes; two, daring to be different, being willing to ask why or why not to make changes; and number three, shooting bullets, testing a lot on a smaller scale, and then iterating, and then when it works out well, scaling it out further. That sound about right?
Yeah, bullets, not cannons.
Bullets, not cannons. Yeah. Okay. And maybe we talk a little bit more about each of these. So for number one, focusing on scalable processes. I like the idea, the phrase you mentioned, how if you were to franchise out your business, right? Do you have systems that you can just give to someone to execute? Can you give an example of some of those systems?
Sure. Well, we started very traditionally as a family business without that much process. Really, everything could be just reviewed with someone in person. Someone could be trained just by sitting next to someone else. But as we grew, we needed to really document and get a way to get a good idea of everything that was going on at one time. So that comes with, about 10 years ago, and this was still fairly new at the time for smaller companies, putting in a customer relationship management system and software, so a CRM system. And through that system, we have kind of checklists and protocols for everything. We still always want to think and make sure that and understand we're humans making decisions and not everything applies, so use logic. But, there's a system for when a new client comes on board with what we've learned and what we need to check on at each point and what we need to test before some of that happens. So we have a lot of checklists.
All right. Yeah, there's a good book on that. Checklists, written by a doctor, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, checklist manifesto, something like that, I think.
Yeah, I believe it's really based on and really rooted in the airline industry too.
Yeah, definitely. Those guys.
Checklists, yes. Yeah. We also have a lot of aviation culture here too. So there's airplane photos everywhere in this building. Was one of the founding members aviation enthusiast? Yes, my actually this is a family business. So this company was founded by my father 37 years ago, and he is been a pilot for 40 years also.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So checklists are natural for him. Did you have checklists growing up as well?
Just the flight checklist.
Okay. All right. Number two, daring to be different. Can you give some examples of how you guys have dared to be different?
Well, we really like personality to show. We're never, we don't like stuffy bureaucracy. And so we really like to say to people, a common phrase around here is don't be a stranger, just be strange. And we really are raised to, it's a culture, it's a family business. We say, express yourself. What would you do to give that an extra touch? And we really don't do things just because other people are doing them. It's that question of asking why and does it fit our values? And if it does, then go for it and run with a new idea. We really like new ideas.
Okay, now are you talking about things that are done internally or also even externally with your client work?
I think mostly internally. With our client work, since we're really reproducing systems that our clients either already have or we have to fit into their brand and their system, it can be a challenge to execute in the way that we would want to execute for our clients. So we really internally, we have a culture, and then it's, we adapt to what our customers want. So we're playing different roles and representing different brands, like one after the other.
Okay.
So it's more internal.
Yep. Can you give an example of recently about how someone dared to be different and asked why?
Let's see. We did just have a great experience out at one of our, in one of the organizations we're involved with. We were out at a trade show, and instead of standing behind a booth, we came out there in matching tracksuits to show our culture and our interest, and said, well, you said suits, so we'll wear these suits. And we definitely got a lot of attention, and I think maybe even a bit of jealousy from people who maybe weren't as comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. It gets pretty tiring standing up all day.
Because we said, why not? There's no rule against this, and why not go this way? And we had people stopping us, taking pictures, taking them back to their marketing teams at home, and with a bit of, I think, fashion envy.
Yeah, definitely. And comfort envy.
Yes.
Having to wear uncomfortable dress shoes all day long for days on end.
Yes.
Cool. Number three, shooting bullets, not cannons. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, and I think we're a great business to do something like that because we are a jack of all trades around here. We work in a lot of different industries. We work for many different size companies, and we do different functions for these companies. Some of these companies want us to really be their full call center. Some want us to just answer after hours. I mean, we could be doing anything for them. And so we also can experiment with different industries. Where are we comfortable? Where would our knowledge from this industry, what other similar industry would this go well into? So we're able to attend a certain type of trade show and see if there's room for us in that industry, while at the same time maybe exploring something else. And we do everything from basic phone answering to we've done complete consulting and helping install systems in smaller call centers for some of our customers. We'll do it all. And right now we're getting into a lot of new stuff again with AI and analytics, customer questions, and IVR. So always doing a little bit of all of it to see what's going to stick. Never putting all the eggs in one basket. Yeah,
makes sense. I mean, the market's always changing as well.
Yeah, I think over time, diversifying has always been a good habit for anyone and managing their finances. So it seems that it translated well to managing the way our company is going to invest our time.
Yep. Looking a little bit forward now, and maybe if you're comfortable sharing this as well, how was 2018 for you, growth-wise? Did you continue your steady growth pace?
2018 was a challenging year, actually. One of the more challenging years we've had in a while. It was time to redo all of our processes again. I think at a certain stage, no matter what you try, as much as you feel like you're growing, you have to redo everything again, pretty much at these different points of growth, just because it just doesn't work anymore. New things need to be combined or technology change. So now there's a system to replace it, and you can put the human talent somewhere else. So 2018 was a good year after some major growth to stop and say, okay, do we want to continue growing this way? What are the problems we have today? And there'll always be problems. It's just which ones you want to deal with. Are these the problems we want to deal with, or do we want to, create some solutions to these and focus elsewhere? So 2018 was a big year for that. It was building out more of our executive team, splitting positions as we never had before, and preparing for the future again.
Right. Okay. So you're saying, so was 2018 a positive growth year as well, and just slower than before, or one where you did not focus on growth as much as you did in the past?
We focused more on organization and regrouping and slowed down some of the growth, but we still had a positive growth year overall, just not as big as in the past.
Right. Well, it was pretty big in the past, so
right.
slowing down a little bit, still pretty good.
Yes, it was time to slow down.
Yeah. How about for 2019? What are you targeting for 2019? What are your big targets on the wall?
In 2019, we're really committed to making sure we're providing as much value as possible for our customers and being as efficient as we can be by leveraging new technology that's now seems to exponentially be growing. So things like bringing in a lot more of an analytical approach to help guide them through how they can use us in the best way, what their customers are asking for that they may not have had access to in the past. There are all these new technologies that can quickly transcribe things, like probably how this interview will be done, and really take meaning from words, analyze them, create business answers. And we're using a lot more of that and a lot more automation so that the human talent can be focused in a different way on doing more for the customers instead of doing things that really a computer system could replicate.
Okay. And how about in terms of growth targets? Do you have any particular growth targets in mind for sales in 2019?
No, we don't set a specific number. We just check in every quarter and see how we're doing and see what sticks and see if we want to focus on one thing in particular.
So how do you go about finding new customers?
We go about getting new customers through referrals, word of mouth, and we do SEO optimize our website. And we really care about being more of a consultant to our customers and using the knowledge and experience we have from all of the years about what works best. So we really build a resource library and we blog about the different things that we've learned and found, and find that people ask us questions. We'll answer questions even if somebody is not signing up for service with us, to guide them through the process. And oftentimes they end up coming back when they're ready for it. We have a lot of strategic partnerships where people are really happy with our work, so they recommend us and look to us to create a program for them. We also belong to a lot of organizations locally and internationally, and we have a good reputation in our industry. So we even have a lot of colleagues who will send us business and turn to us if it's something that they don't traditionally handle.
I see that you're not doing a lot of pay-per-click advertising, or none as far as I can tell. What's your thought behind that?
So we want to revamp some of our marketing, but historically we found that the call center pay-per-click advertising is so geared towards call center jobs that it's just insanely expensive and there's not a great ROI on it. So many people search for it in that way, and a lot of potential employees use up those clicks. So we in the past just had never found that it was a good value for us. Maybe with algorithms these days, or if there's anyone who does marketing really well listening and wants to give me some tips, maybe we could get into that again. But we really like to focus on organic SEO and doing things as naturally as we can. But we haven't done it really.
Okay.
Very minimally, we've tested some campaigns over time because we test things and try new things, but never a huge campaign.
Right. Have you tried other online marketing channels besides SEO?
Not that many, no. I think that's stuff we're talking about just really within the last 6 months and thinking about for this year, how to, really expand our footprint, because we actually have not done a lot of traditional marketing that some other companies do. And we really didn't even start using the word marketing until the last couple of years, even with all this growth, which is, everyone does things a different way, but kind of started thinking, if we had paid attention to that, I wonder what the numbers would have been. We really never paid attention to traditional marketing patterns and sources and using that.
Yeah. Well, I imagine once you get it dialed in, it's really going to accelerate your growth even further. Because you already have a platform that's growing well organically. Right now, you're just getting the word out and making it easier for people to find you, and that should boost your growth even faster. Any particular challenges that you see in 2019 that you need to overcome?
Do you think the workforce challenges? It's hard to find great people who fit the culture, especially with the traditional stereotypes, I think, about call center jobs. A lot of people think I don't want to work in a call center based on either getting sales calls that interrupt them at dinner or calling in to someone and having a bad experience. So they don't really think about that as a career, when really it's a really neat way to learn a lot about things, talk to people, engage with them all day. And so it's hard to find great people. And especially we're in a very wonderful city, which I'm grateful for, that's always growing, but that means there's more and more companies coming here too. So it is a challenge, recruiting and keeping up with all the technology. It's really easy for a company to come out now and use a good marketing firm and get online and look a certain way. And sometimes it can take customers a while to find out that they're not who they are behind it. Whereas we've been here for, well over 3 decades. So things like that. I think making sure we use the new technologies in a good way and making sure our recruiting and our message stays clear so that we get the right call experts agents in the seats to help our customers.
Yeah, I have to say, when you encounter a company that has a call agents or customer service team that's really responsive and gets and solves your problem right away, as opposed to having you go through a menu system or tossing you around from people to people, it's refreshing, and you remember that.
Yes, thank you. That'd be a good ad.
Yeah.
Now that we're into marketing, I'm going to make note of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and some huge companies do it so well, right? I mean, on occasion, I've spoken to Amazon's customer service, right? I mean, they're enormous, right? But yet they've figured it out. And, you want to talk to someone, you click on a button and someone calls you within seconds who's able to help you right away, which is nice.
Exactly. Yeah. I look up to them too. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, now you talked about being hard to find great people. Is that a constraint in your growth?
Right now, it's not really stopping us with our growth, because we do have 2 other locations, and we just gauge where with those, again, that's another area that we basically diversify. And I guess it's another part of our bullets cannon strategy that we're in 3 different areas. So we've been fine, but I don't think that in particular has hurt our growth. It would just make some of our internal operations a bit smoother, and our HR department would like it. Find more. So
now, are you finding that the people who come through the door, at the end of the day, you hire them and it works out really well, or do you find that one of the challenges is maybe doing better filtering so that you have better retention rates and better hires, right?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think through the years we've tried almost everything, every type of pre-employment testing, every type of survey, doing none of them because maybe that's what turns people off, doing in-person, video, group interviews, single interviews. We really do test a lot. So I don't know that one thing really makes a difference. What we've really just found is we could schedule 40 people to come in for an interview, and depending on the month or the weather, 3 people could come even if they've done all their testing, or most of them could come. It just seems there's no real method to this madness here. So we just, with the filtering, we found as much as what we do, some people are also really good at interviewing.
Yeah.
So that's it's just really, refining what the right fit is. And we're always working on that.
How about once you hire them, do you find that your hires generally work out well, or do you find that after they do the work, they go, oh, this isn't for me?
I'd say most of them do turn out well, unless we are in kind of a hiring crunch and didn't do as much of the screening as we would have wanted, then they do tend to work out. I mean, usually if they don't work out, it's very early on, like in the first week or 2, and they were just someone who was very good at interviewing or wasn't really sure what they wanted. And after someone is here for a while, we have very good retention and turnover. I mean, most of our team who's been here and gets through training, the initial training, initial introduction, I mean, they're here for a long time and move up within the company. All
right. What kind of retention do you have of your staff, or how many people leave your firm? Like what kind of numbers do you have?
And I don't think anyone's really ever left our executive team, which is nice. And then from there, I mean, it's very rare agents. We have some people who have been here in 18 years, and a lot of agents, I think the average agent, which isn't, it's an entry level job too. And a lot of people do it part-time or while they're in school. But I think it's really about 3 years someone's here after they get through that initial like introductory period from there. And then almost all of our middle management is promoted from internal, started as a call center agent. Even programmers, account managers, even billing and recruiters all started as agents.
Right. They all understand your business.
Yes. And a lot of people go between departments too. So say they're interested in something or feeling antsy about a new career, which just happens, as good as the job is, people seek change and seek growing. So we have our best account managers at one point were supervisors or were trainers, and having that knowledge about different areas of the business in a business that's always moving and changing has really helped them be successful and give us new insights.
Right. So at the agent level, you do expect churn, right? Because some people are just doing this as like you said, as they're going through college, right? As a job, but some stay on beyond that. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I kind of, in my mind, I'm thinking most people have no idea what it is, what the job entails being a call center agent, right? And I've done work where I'm on the phone a lot, right? But not as much as a call agent is, right? But, like, in the span of an hour, of those minutes, how many of those minutes are they actually talking to someone?
Well, so the optimum utilization for an agent, enough to stay busy so you can be profitable, but not too much to get burnt out, is between 70 and 80%.
Okay.
Of the time.
So 45 minutes out of an hour, they'll be busy.
Yeah, probably more. For us, we tend around 40.
And by busy, that means they're on the phone, or that might mean they're entering data into the CRM and so on?
The majority of the time should be on the phone, because we want to do whatever we can to make that call efficient. But there is time after a phone call where they may be classifying calls and doing some wrap up. So they may not be live speaking that whole time. I would guess on average, maybe 30 to 35 minutes live speaking. The rest would be wrap up between calls.
Right. Okay. Now you talk about quite a bit about changes. So you talk about technology changes. What other changes do you see in your industry? It doesn't have to be technology related. Maybe just changes in how people like to interact with customer service, for example, right? What do you see evolving? Well,
there are just so many different channels now for people to engage with businesses. Right now, it's almost overload. And I think some businesses are choosing. I think at first businesses felt like they had to be absolutely everywhere. I think they're being a bit more selective now and not feeling like they have to be on every social media channel. Like, does it make sense for them to be on Instagram or not? But mostly people just really want immediacy, and they want to be able to find them everywhere. So to keep up with that, the big buzzwords now are, omnichannel and being able to integrate all those pieces in one place for a call center agent. So I think it's less phone, more everything else.
Yeah, this is one company that I was trying to find a phone number for. They did a really good job not having a phone number anywhere. Yeah. And they were a good sized company. I mean, they were a multi-million-dollar business, right? But they made a decision that we do not want people calling us, And so, but they did have other channels available for you to reach them, right? They had a Facebook Messenger with live people behind it so that you could contact them that way. But it was the first company I've encountered that literally had no phone number anywhere.
It's so interesting you said that, because I'm seeing both, and I'm seeing companies that they don't want you to email because I think they feel people just really email really quickly. And a lot of times an email, we found, actually takes a company a lot longer than a phone call, because you're going back and forth, and oftentimes people are not clear in their first email. The resolution takes a lot longer. People think email is more immediate, but it's actually not. It's just more in our culture, because we're all multitasking. It's easier to send an email to sit on the phone. So people think that. But then there's companies that, so I found companies that are hiding the phone number, and I'm finding companies also that are hiding any ability to email and chat. So it's interesting. You're seeing both sides of it happen.
Yeah, I've seen that too. And I really find it annoying when I need to talk to someone live to resolve an issue, right? Yes. I know in my mind I'm gonna have to wait, right? I'd rather just send an email and then have them get back to me later.
Yes.
So,
yeah, it's funny. I get annoyed both ways depending on what I want. So I'm either
yeah,
the ideal customer or the worst customer. I don't know.
yeah. And I guess it can flip flop too between the nature of the issue that you have, right?
Right.
If I need something that needs to be fixed right now, I love having chat, and I would just hate if I have to go through email. But then on the other hand, right, if I have something that doesn't require my time, yeah, I prefer email and not be forced to chat. So yeah, I could see how there's a difference in applications. So.
Sure. And I think there's a distrust in there too. I think, as call centers and phone support and things became more digital, there was a lot more call center and virtual work. So, as times have changed and people were getting services on the internet, so you might much more often be dealing with someone not there and having to call for support and do things virtually. People would call and have these really negative experiences. And so many things in our culture and jokes are about things being outsourced to other countries, and all the call center memes and cartoons are about not being able to understand someone or getting lost in a phone tree. So I think there's this idea, and like people roll their eyes, oh, I'm going to call into a call center and it's going to be so frustrating, and who am I going to talk to, and I'm going to get passed around different times. So companies are really trying to rebound from that. I think Amazon, which you mentioned before, has really done a good job about showing how a huge company can still have very personal customer service.
Oh yeah, and I've even chatted with some of the customer service, ask them where they are, right? And they're like sitting in South Africa, literally, right? In Johannesburg or something. But they're well trained up. They knew what they're doing, and it was a fantastic experience. Right. And the guy said he just loved his work. He's like, oh yeah, I love working here. I love the job. So yeah. It's working great for everyone.
So interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So in 3 years from now, say we were talking again in 3 years, what would have to happen over the past 3 years that would make you be really happy with the progress?
I would like to have these new technologies implemented seamlessly out there for our customers and be consistently delivering to customers in all of these new ways with data and analytics, things that are helping them make business decisions, and have every account set up in a way that's definitely giving the customer the most value that they can see and measure and see how we're making a huge impact for them. And have that be really simple and clean.
How about the size of your company? Do you expect that you'll be roughly the same size? Do you think you're going to have 10 locations scattered throughout North America? Any thoughts on that?
You know what? I don't want to make something up for this interview. I definitely don't really think of things that way. Maybe that's that number 4 driver of success that we've had. We kind of have stayed open-minded to what opportunities are going to come and gone after them. We have an idea that we'd like to be always just be better at what we're doing, always be having more fun than before, be cleaner and simpler. So we're using our time in good ways. But beyond that, we don't set specific revenue goals, and we don't set a specific way for us to look, because we want to always be using the best of what's in front of us and making the decision at that time.
Right. Okay. Got it. 3 last questions for you. So the first one, say you decide to do one of your shooting bullets instead of cannons, and you do a test of a billboard along a fast-moving freeway near your office, or perhaps near one of your target markets. What would your message say on that billboard? And people generally only have 6 seconds to see a billboard before they drive by. So what would be your billboard message?
As call experts to our customers, I would say inspire real communication.
Inspire real communications. Okay. Yeah, you actually had, as we were doing our conversation, you actually had quite a few thoughts that I thought would make good billboard messages. Right? Like, what was the one about being strange? That was a good one.
Don't be a stranger, just be strange.
Yeah, that one could be a good billboard message. Okay. And the final 2 questions. Who are your ideal customers or clients? And what's the best way for them to contact your team?
Sure. Our ideal customers are people who value quality and value and want to get the most for their teams, and really people in the growth space who need someone who can grow with them. In particularly certain industries that we're really good at are in HR, utilities, and home services. Those are really our strong industries where we have a lot of experience, and we are available all the time. We are always open, of course. We're 24/7. the best way is either by phone, and I'm sure our phone number is published somewhere here, or email info@callexperts.com.
Okay, good. If you want to share your phone number here,
Sure.
go right ahead.
1-800-374-0911.
Abby, it's been awesome having you on my show today. I really enjoyed hearing how you grew your company so fast.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
We've been speaking with Abby Leibowitz, the CEO of Call Experts, about her company's rapid growth. For interviews with other fast-growing, high-value sales companies, or to learn how we can accelerate your firm's high-value sales through automation, visit eversprint.com.